Are you tired of feeling like the holidays are draining your bank account every year? Does the excitement of gift giving quickly turn into stress when all those credit card bills start piling up in January?
Well, you're not alone. In today's episode of The FI Guys, we're here to help you take control of your holiday spending so you can enjoy this season without that financial hangover. Stick around because we're about to share the proven ways to save money during the holidays that will help you stay on budget, avoid debt, and still give meaningful gifts. Whether it's mastering holiday spending, finding creative gift ideas, or even using those sweet apps for some cash back, we've got you covered.
At the end of today's episode, you'll be equipped with everything you need to celebrate the holidays without the financial stress. So grab a cocoa, get comfortable, and let's dive into how you can enjoy the season and keep your wallet happy.
And stick around to the very end because we've saved some of the best money-saving strategies for last. Let's get started on making this the most financially stress-free holiday season you've ever had.
We're the FI Guys. Let's get into it.
Dominic, it is the holiday season. Are you excited?
I am the most excited. As you know, I am a very chipper individual, but during the holidays, I'm even more chipper. So I'm excited for Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday. Ooh, I'm very excited. Are you a big Thanksgiving guy? I hope you chow down at Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'll chow down hard.
My man. What's a go-to plate for you? Are you getting stuffing? You getting mashed potatoes? Are you a turkey man or a ham man?
Not big on turkey, but if it has gravy with it, then I'll mess it up pretty good.
Yeah.
We have a spot here in Phoenix called Barbecues. So we're actually getting everything catered from Barbecues this year. We did it for the first time last year. It was a game buster. So we're going to do it again. It's just so much easier than having to spend a whole day in the kitchen, and you end up not hating your family by the end of it as much. So that's always good.
That's so true. No, that's true. Barbecues, if you're here in Arizona, here in Phoenix, definitely go check it out. It's one of the best barbecue spots around. But today we are talking a little bit more than just barbecue and Thanksgiving and whether or not turkey is good. Most people don't like it. Sometimes it comes out too dry. But with that being said, let's get right into it. What are we chatting about today?
So just like you said earlier, you love the holidays. It's your time of the year where everything's nice and happy. And for all of us, we all kind of feel that way until the holidays end. And then on January 1st, we get our first credit card bill and we're like, what the hell happened? And now that financial hangover starts. So today I thought we'd talk about some money saving tips so that you don't blow your budget or spending plan, as it were, this holiday season. Let's try to save as much money as we possibly can and set this up to be the least financially stressful holiday season we have ever had and will continue to have moving forward.
I love it. Yeah, I know Black Friday is right around the corner. So this podcast comes at a great time. Hopefully we can get it out in time, but it comes at a great time. Okay, cool. I love that. Yeah, for the holiday season is supposed to be a chipper, a happy time. And I know for a lot of families, it's the saddest and most expensive time of the year, you know? So let's get into it. Segment 1, what do we got?
So for segment 1, when it comes to trying to save money and getting everything ready so that on January 1st, we're not looking at our credit card statements like what's going on. The first thing I want you to do, if you haven't done it already, is we need to set up a holiday budget. And I know I just used the B word. Everyone hates the B word. The reason I don't like using budget is because that's backward thinking. That's looking at it in the past. That's already happened. So what I'd rather us do is let's set up a holiday spending plan. What that means is we are going to start planning today on how much money we plan on spending during the holiday season for gifts, flights, everything that we're going to need to spend so that it's not going to come out at the end. And we're going to be looking at it in January at the budget saying, oh, this is all wrecked. Let's start making a plan today with a spending plan, knowing what we're going to be doing moving forward.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I love that way better. Budget is such a nasty word, you know? It's not a sexy word. Spending plan, it's a step up. I wouldn't say it's the most handsome name in the world, but it is much better. And, you know, there is something so beautiful about getting to the register and not having to worry. It's like, oh no, I've already allocated these funds for this gift for these people. So I don't got to worry about it. It doesn't come out of my bottom line. It almost feels like free money. And I know that sounds absolutely absurd. That might be some boy math in there. I don't know. But I have a trip coming up and I've already stashed away money for it. I have it in a separate account. I don't even count it as my money. That's the trip's money. Hasn't been spent yet. But it's like, oh, I don't even have to worry about the trip because it's It's already allocated. And that's how it's going to feel during Christmas time. And I love this. I love setting up a spending plan. I think this is a great idea and a great first segment.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the foundation of everything. If you don't have that foundation set up, it's like creating a house on top of quicksand. So we really need to make sure that we have everything budgeted. And what does that word come down to that we use a lot? Intention. As long as we have intention to spend the money, then it doesn't hurt as much. Is the same amount of money going out? Yes, it's the exact same amount of money had you planned to spend it or not planned to spend it. But when you plan to spend it, now at least you allocated for it. And that's what's really going to help you to plan for all of the expenses of the holidays. And that doesn't just mean gifts. It also could mean decoration. Food's going to be a big one. Travel. All of these things are going to add up into the holiday season. So most people just focus on the gifts. How much do the gifts cost without thinking about all of the other things that are related to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't even think about food. That turkey gets expensive. Damn turkeys. I am nervous. I'm nervous because this year I'll be cooking the turkey, and this will be the first time me cooking the turkey. So next year I'll probably go barbecues like you, and but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully my bird doesn't come out dry as heck.
I'll teach you some tips and tricks later on off the pod. I can teach you some things that I've been cooking my bird for the past like decade, so I've learned a few tricks in that time. So I'm going to give you a pro tip when it comes towards setting up your holiday spending plan. And that is to set aside a little bit of extra for unplanned purchases to avoid blowing your budget. I would say allocate an additional 10, maybe 15% to additional things you want to buy. Because the worst thing I could see that people do is they set a budget saying, I'm going to spend $500, no more, no less on gifts, on all these things. And then come, well, really probably Saturday of Black Friday, after Black Friday, and the budget's blown. And you're like, well, now it's over. So why even try? And you start going down that route. But if we have a plan with intention and we have a little bit of buffer, there's less of a chance of that happening. And I kind of think of it like when I do a diet, right? And I don't do diets anymore. But when I used to, it was like, hey, I'm not going to eat any sugars or anything like that. And the first time you eat like a Reese's peanut butter cup, you're like, well, the diet's gone anyway, so I might as well eat the rest of the pack. And then I'll eat all the gummy worms and I'll eat all the chips. So it's very much the same thing as the budget.
Yeah, you end up just flying off the rails. If it's blown, it's blown. There's no difference between blowing it a little bit and blowing it a lot. So might as well just blow it a lot. So I get that. So I like that. So 10 to 15%, just a little bit extra. Now, as far as like setting this up, right? We have our spending plan. We might be like, okay, I might want to allocate $200 to the parents. Maybe $100 to the wife or the girlfriend, a significant other, right? Maybe $100 for the friends, right? Is this something that you have set up, you have it written down, or you have it maybe typed in a spreadsheet? Or are you going as far as this in my bank account, I'm creating a new account and this is just Christmas fund, right? Or how are you doing it?
How do I do it? And if you want to create a separate bucket in your bank account and do that, I think that's a wonderful idea if that's something that you need. For me, one of my big like money dials, one of the things that I find to be most important is simplicity. Anytime that I have to log into my bank account, create new little things, that's just extra work for me. So I just make a mental accounting in my brain where I'm writing it all down. And then, I have a spreadsheet that has everything on the spreadsheet, this much money, this much money. And then I know when I look at my checking account, I say I have $5,000 in there and I've allocated $1,000 to gifts. In my brain, I have $4,000 in my account.
I gotcha. Okay. I think for me, I think that works totally good for you. For me, I feel like I need categories and then I need the subcategories underneath it. And it would just be so messy in my bank account if I had like, all right, Christmas for family, Christmas for, I think the best thing for me would probably be getting like the envelopes, getting cash, like, okay, 200 for family, write this down here. And then I just have it like that. And it's like, okay, today we're going to Sam's Club. We're going to, I don't know, Macy's. And we're going to spend this money on the family, right? For me, I really hope they don't ever outlaw cash. That would suck because that would ruin my whole system. But I think that would work for me. And I think that would work for a lot of people too, that are more visual, more hands-on. And sometimes it's tough to really keep everything in your mind. I always like to jot things down. I got a pen and paper here to kind of help with that. But I love that. I love that idea. So we've got segment one, we've got the spending plan. We've got setting it up. We've got setting aside a little 10 to 15%. Now, a question. Now, this is more of a personal question, not necessarily a finance question, but during Christmas, do you ever get yourself a gift?
Ooh, that is a good question. And that's actually one of the things we're going to talk about here. So I will answer that question once we get there in a little bit. That is a
Perfect.
good question, though.
Okay, okay.
Now, one thing we just talked about a lot is everyone's a little bit different, right? In their spending plan. Some people can do the mental accounting like I do, where it's all just in one line item. Some people are like you and they want it to be all kind of spelled out. So what it all comes down to is being intentional with your strategy. So I'm going to give you a quick little tip that we can do. Number one is something you already mentioned, and that's doing the cash method. So we're going to use cash for in-person shopping to make sure that we stay on budget. So if you allocated $200 to your parents, I'm going to go to the store with $200 and I'm only going to spend cash. Therefore, I'm not going to be blowing the budget. And therefore, we know, hey, if I'm getting too many things, I might have to put an item back or maybe have to downgrade the item. Now, I know most people nowadays aren't going to the store and they're not making purchases in person because, we have online. It's just so much easier. So if you're like me, if you're an online shopper, a really good way to avoid using cash because you can't send your cash in to Amazon is you could use prepaid cards with prepaid spending limits.
Interesting. That is a great idea. I love that idea. I love that idea. Okay. That makes it a lot easier than opening up multiple bank accounts and kind of getting sketchy
Yes,
with the
it would.
finances. Much simpler just getting the card and loading them up. I love that. But you're already simplifying my life. I love that. I love that.
And one thing to think about, if you are going to do that, you can always go into the store, buy one of those Visa preload cards, but you can also buy those online for substantially cheaper than would you do and buy in store. So here is a tip. While the prepaid cards may help for tracking the expenses, you really do need to worry about the reload fees because sometimes the reload fees might not make it worth it. So you're going to have to look at your specific demographic and see, hey, this card has a $1 reload fee for every $1,000, something like that. That might be worth it. But if it's like, I want to put $100 on there and the reload fee is $10, that's a 10% penalty. That wouldn't be worth it to me. But only you can make that determination. So please be sure to look at the reload fees, look at the activation fees, and see if that's worth it to you before going and just saying, I have to do this because Chris and Dom said it's a really good way to make sure I don't overspend during the holidays. It can be, but if you're spending a bunch of fees, not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm kind of thinking too is, there's such great deals online. You can use the loaded card actually on, say, Amazon or any site where you get a better deal. So you're still using the cash method, but you're just kind of bringing it into the modern age a little bit. And I like that. I like that idea. And thank you for pointing out that reload feed. I hadn't heard about that. I know that like they'll charge you if you don't use it after like a year or something like that. So I got to keep that on the brain. But that's really good knowledge. That's really good to know.
I just thought of something for Amazon that I didn't think about it during the show notes, but it does actually work. You can go onto Amazon right now. In the search bar, put Amazon gift card or Amazon e-card. You can actually purchase an e-card yourself with like maybe $200 or something like that, and then send it to yourself to your own phone number, preload that on there, and then say, for these people, I'm only going to use what's on this one e-card. So you can probably do that too. And that's free. There is no reload fees for doing that.
That's a great idea. Those Amazon shoppers, probably you're one of them in the audience. So that is a very helpful tip. I might be taking that one, putting that in the pocket and running with that one. That's a good one. I like that. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the gift cards and all that stuff, planning your gifts. What else do you got for us that can help us during this season?
The first thing was making sure that we have a good spending plan. And that spending plan went ahead and made sure that it looked over everything, the gifts, the decoration, the food, the travel, anything else that might come up during the holidays. This next one is going to be making sure that we make a shopping list and we're going to try to stick to it for the gifts we're going to be purchasing people. Because if you're like me, you're someone that puts it off. And then at the end of the holiday season, you start feeling bad about it. So you end up blowing more money than you should have because you know that you put it off for too long. But if you come into this with intention and you plan your gifts with intention and start making a list today, we're only a few days out from Thanksgiving if you're listening to this on the day that it releases. But if you start making that list today, you can start putting your spending and your buying habits, and you can start to limit how much money you're going to spend for each person because you're putting it with intention. You're not going to be doing it at the end where you're like, well, I might as well buy them something because I feel bad that I didn't think about them until right now.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And we've all done that. We've all pushed it way too far, way too far, way too close to the actual holiday. So yeah, maybe this year be different. It's a new year. Let's break the pattern of pushing it away and procrastinating the purchases. I love that. So we're making a plan. We're setting
Yep.
aside money. We're making a shopping list and we're sticking to the shopping list. I know that can be very difficult. And that's where that 10 to 15% kind of helps, right?
It certainly can, because sometimes you might say like, I'm only going to spend $10 on a person or something like that. But you get to the store and it's like 12, 15 bucks. And, I don't want you to be like, well, I can't buy this. So that's where that little bit of budget comes in and helps out, or a little bit of buffer comes in and helps out. So when you're making this list, what I first want you to do is I want you to list out all the people you're going to be buying gifts for. And then once you have a list of all of those people, we're going to assign spending limits to each one of those people, depending on maybe the value they bring to you or whatever it is. Maybe if you say, hey, family is going to get $100, friends are going to get $15, brother and sister is going to get $30, whatever it is to you. You have to come up with that for yourself. I can't give you any specific guidelines on what's right or wrong there, because in truth, there is nothing right or wrong there. But here's the hard part for a lot of people. After you've listed it out, if that list is too long and the money is too much, we may have to make the hard decision to either trim some names from the gifts or reduce the amount of spending per gift. And that's often very hard for people to do. But if you go into it with intention, you actually plan it out before you're at the store, before you're at Target looking at the gift, you're going to make it a lot easier for you to stick to what you said you were going to do, because it's written down and you're going to stick to that consistency principle that we all fall into.
Absolutely. Maybe every single one of your coworkers doesn't need a present. Maybe Bob in accounting, that you talk to once a year, doesn't need a present. Also, I would say, this is for me, if you are giving gifts to coworkers, I would just give baked goods. That's what I would give. It's a lot cheaper. You can batch them. You can make a massive batch of maybe your grandma's famous cookies or a specialty pie or something like that, and maybe send that their direction, a very cost-effective way. And it shows that, hey, I'm not just Dom from marketing or from sales. Like, no, I also do a little bit of baking, a little bit of cooking. There's more to me, and I think that's a great gift alternative. Now, would I give that, say, to my mother? Right? Absolutely. But you better stack on a few more gifts. So this is just, it depends on how you play it, right? I wouldn't give exclusively cookies unless your cookies are unbelievable. But yeah, just careful how you stack it. Don't give cookies to everyone, and you know how it is. You understand.
Yeah, but it all depends on the family. It depends on the individual. It really depends on you. So, figure out what's going to be right for you, because we can never tell you what the right gift is for your mom or your dad or for your coworker, but you know what that is. So you figure it out for yourself. That's where the thinking about it comes in. But I am going to give you a pro tip when it comes to making a shopping list. And Dominic, you asked me this question earlier. Do you buy something for yourself? Typically, I never do, but I have had many clients that feel the need to purchase something for themselves. So what I'm going to say is, when you're making that list of shopping, add your own name to the bottom of the list. And what that's going to do is, sometimes you're going out, you're making all these purchases, you're going to find yourself wanting to do an impulse purchase as well for yourself. So by adding yourself to the list, that's going to help to prevent that impulse purchase, because it's giving yourself permission to indulge in maybe a small planned gift that fits within your own budget.
Yeah, I like that. That's important. And I don't know about you. I know I asked about if you give yourself a gift. One of the things that my family, one of our traditions, my mom and I, we do a house gift, right? So every year we'll get, maybe one of the years we got a popcorn maker. It was really freaking cool. And I highly recommend that. It's always fun to have good traditions for the holidays, but it's great to have good financial traditions as well. And really adopting these tactics into your holiday season can save you a lifetime of trouble and pain, and really your wallet crying out to you when, like Chris said, when January 1st hits and it's just, man, where'd all my money go? Man, damn, this kind of sucks. So yeah, I'm all on board with this one, Chris. This has been a great pod so far. Let's keep it going.
Cool. Let's move on to the next one that we can do to help to reduce the spending. So I know for a lot of us, when it comes down to, we're going to maybe be traveling to see family, and now we're sitting in a room with 12, 14 different family members. And if you're like me and my family, we used to go ahead and purchase something for every person inside that room. And that can get very expensive. So let's go ahead and talk about some smart gift giving and celebration strategies that may help to reduce the overall cost. And what I want to preface all of these with is that a lot of it comes with intention of communicating with your family up front. So the first thing I might suggest is doing a secret Santa. It's a really fun way to reduce the number of gifts you have to purchase, therefore reducing the cost while still keeping the holiday spirit alive. So rather than going out and purchasing 15 gifts for 15 different family members, you're purchasing one gift that you get to give to somebody with more intention. And if you're going to do that, I would definitely recommend communicating with the family. Don't show up with everyone thinking we're all going to be exchanging gifts with each other. And you're the one person with one gift saying, like, I thought we were doing Secret Santa. I just never communicated that with anyone else. So please talk with them. Maybe think about setting up a budget or a spending limit for each one of the gifts so that you don't have an iPod sitting next to, I don't know, a cheeseburger or something silly. So just talk to your people, and you can always do the Secret Santa. It's a great way to still give gifts. Everyone still feels like they've been seen, that they're taken care of, but you get to save some money on your own end.
I love that. I love it. Did you get a cheeseburger for Christmas?
That's going to be the next thing we're going to talk about. So a different strategy is a white elephant is also a really good strategy because it's kind of fun. You ever played White Elephant or Naughty Elf or whatever it's called?
Yeah,
where
yeah.
It's a gift into the pile.
Once. Yeah. Of course.
Perfect. I've always hated that game, but I really hate that game because one time I got a gift and it was a Carl's Jr. cheeseburger that someone purchased right before coming to the party, and it was cold. And I was like, this is great. This is wonderful. And no one stole it from me. No one wanted it.
That's terrible. That explains a lot. Yeah, I was like, where's he going with this? Like, that's super random, a cheeseburger as a present, but here we are. One Carl's Jr. bacon cheeseburger. There you go. Cold as can be. That's I don't know if that's got to be a last minute gift, right? That's got to be.
Oh, it was 1000%. They had no idea. They were on the way. They saw the thing that, oh shoot, White Elephant. I guess I'm here at Carl's Jr. Add an extra like dollar burger. It wasn't even the Western bacon cheeseburger. Like if it was that, I might be okay. It was like something else. And I was like, this is cold and garbage and it's going directly inside the trash. But White Elephant can be a very fun gift giving idea where everyone's still giving a gift and you're only purchasing one thing. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't give a cheeseburger, guys. That sucks. Like you might think like, oh, this would be like super funny. Like it sucks if you're the one getting the gift. Like get something thoughtful. It's like, no, I'm not saying expensive. Like Chris said, communication is key in talking with your other White Elephant group members, I guess you could say, and setting a limit. I love that idea. I love the $20 limit. $20 limit. Like that's super doable. That's super doable. I like that. I like the White Elephant idea as well. So you didn't try and steal anybody else's, or how'd that work?
I think it was one of those where like what was it? I can't remember how it worked. I think you could only steal
once
if someone stole from you, right? Or once. It was something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Either way, I have trauma around Black Elephant or White Elephant, so I don't play the game anymore. It's not my thing. But yeah, don't be mean to people, and then you won't have someone like me who doesn't want to play White Elephant ever again because of a stupid cheeseburger. So moving on, the next thing we can do for smart gift giving and celebration strategies is having a potluck holiday meal. So typically, what do we always do? We go to grandma's house, mom and dad's house, something like that, and it becomes that person's whole deal to spend all the money to feed every single person. But by creating a potluck meal, it can significantly cut down the cost and the time spent preparing food by everyone bringing one item. And again, it comes down to communication. Make sure you guys are identifying what you're going to bring before the party so everyone doesn't show up with a bag of chips.
Absolutely. Nobody wants all chips, no dip. You got to have some sweets in there, and hopefully there's some people that are kind of locked in with that. They got grandma's recipe, or they got some crazy recipe on TikTok that is just slapping all over the place. So I love that. I love that. Smart gift giving. It's all about being smart. We're playing smart gifts. I love it.
Yep. It's about intention. And a final tip that I'm going to give you guys is you can always use e-cards. So I know a lot of us during the time, that's when we're exchanging these cards that no one's really opening at that moment. That's meant to be open maybe on Christmas Day or maybe on whatever day that you guys have determined for yourself, whatever your holidays are. But a really low cost to even free alternative is to use gift cards because it's going to save you on the traditional card, how much that costs from Hallmark, which is like $5 or $10 now. and all the postage and all that stuff. So you can always go to something like Blue, I think it's called Blue Ram or Blue Card, something like that. You can create a free account and you can send holiday cards pretty much for free to people just with their email address. And you can even link gift cards into that as well.
That's pretty cool. I think I've gotten a few of those and they're nice. They're really cool. They're really cool. And you can keep them forever. Unlike the ones that some of us throw in the garbage. Not saying who, but yeah, we all do it. We all do it. I'm not gonna lie. We've all thrown cards in the garbage.
You open it up, see if money falls out. If it doesn't, you throw it away. No, I'm joking. But
I got a gift card once. No, I got a not a gift card. It was like a holiday card once. When you opened it, it played a song, but it was a joke card, and the song never ended. And then I was
what song was it?
I want to say Dominic the Donkey, but I might be biased. I don't know.
I don't know what song that is, but okay.
That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna keep that one on the down low because I don't want that song to get popular. It's a very popular Christmas song back in the 50s. I'm not gonna sing it, but you can feel free to look it up in your free time. But when I went to take the battery out, I ripped it open and a bunch of glitter popped out. Like, oh, this is just wonderful. That's my cheeseburger moment. So there we go. There we go. But
they got you.
Okay. The e-gift cards. I like that. Little video message, video card, or something of that nature. That's definitely something to look into if you have a bit of a savvy individual you want to send it to, or maybe you have a brother that can't come home for the holidays and they're on the other side of the country and you don't want to ship anything out. That could be a great alternative. I like that.
I do like that as well. So I'm going to give you another one for smart giving gift ideas, and that could be to give the gift of time. So maybe you offer your time to do some tasks, maybe like babysitting or running errands, or just helping around with household chores. Sometimes money is great, but what do we all use money for? We use it to try to buy us back more time. So maybe we could prevent that and just give you more time back by offering to do something for you. And here's a helpful tip that thoughtful gifts like handmade little items or these time-based gifts can often outshine really expensive gifts because they see that you really have put some intention behind it. And that's what it's really about, right? The thought that someone else thought about me and my needs, not just went out and maxed out their credit card so that I would feel like they loved me.
Yeah. And also it's like, if you get an expensive gift, you feel guilty a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100% feel guilty. It's like, damn. Like I got this Apple Watch for my birthday, like I think a couple months ago, and I was like, "Are you sure? Like, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to. Like, if you want to give me something else, like that's totally fine. Like, you don't have to." But no, they were adamant on it, and I have literally hit my fitness goals every single day. Like, I make it a point to hit my 12-hour standing, my 35-minute workout, and like I think it's like 600 calories burned every day. So it's definitely improving my life, which I find is a benefit. I love that. So yeah, those thoughtful gifts are super important, but like you said, they don't have to be super expensive. They can be very thoughtful. I know making stuff as a kid for my mother, because I'm a kid, I don't work in a factory. This isn't the 1920s. I don't really have a job yet. I would make her stuff for Christmas and she would always appreciate it, and making cards and whatnot, and she still appreciates it. But now I do actually give her proper gifts because I have money now. So with that being said, giving time or other thoughtful gifts, great alternative to blowing up your checking account, blowing up your credit card. With that being said, do we have a segment on credit cards?
We do have a segment on credit cards, and this is probably one of the most important things, and it's be so cautious when it comes to your credit cards because you need to use your credit responsibly. Credit cards are super handy during the holiday season, right? But if you don't use them wisely, they will destroy you. And that's the reason at the first part of this podcast, we talked about some specific spending habits in order to make sure that we're doing with intention, like using cash or using preloaded cards. But I know for a lot of people, they're going to be like, Chris, I already have my credit cards. I'm going to use my credit cards. I get points. I get whatever it is. And I get that. And that is amazing because that's what I do too. But if you're going to make that choice, you need to stick to the spending that you have and don't just say, I'm going to pay it off really quickly. And because that ends up very rarely happening.
Yeah.
If you're going to spend it on a credit card, you have to spend it as if you had the cash already available.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Putting your future self in a financial burden to serve your friends and family is not what they would have wanted anyways. Let's allocate some money ahead of time and be responsible with it. And you buy the gifts and done deal. Versus, wow, it's July and I'm still paying off mom's gift. That kind of sucks. It's like, wow, how did this balloon just so big? Like, what did I even get with all this money that I now have to pay? It's an unfortunate situation to be in. So that's what we're trying to avoid by kind of just getting ahead of ourselves, getting ahead of ourselves. And I like that. I like that one.
Yeah. And my pro tip for this would be, please, 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 only use a credit card if you're going to use it like cash, if you already have the cash available. But if you're going to hear what I say and be like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, Chris, I don't have to listen to you. Okay, then. If that's the case, please will use whatever credit card you have that has the lowest interest rate. Because at least if that's the case, you're going to have debt either way. If you're not going to listen to what I have to say, at least have less debt by having the one with the least amount of interest rate. But what I don't want you guys to do, the reason I stress on this so hard when it comes to credit cards, is that by putting yourself into holiday debt, it's going to lead to stress in the new years. It's going to lead to that holiday hangover that we've all experienced at one point or another in our life. And I don't know why every single year we get to the holiday season saying, this year is going to be different. And then we'll repeat the same exact generational pattern. So you need to be the person that sets it up for yourself, because if you keep on doing this, then everyone in your family, especially if you're the parent, is seeing this happen. And now they're going to repeat that exact same thing. So go into it with intention. If you're going to use a credit card, use it strategically. Use it as if you already have the money available in your bank account, which you very much should before using the credit cards.
Absolutely. Perfectly said, elegantly said, and strategically said. And I hope that you guys are taking notes. I hope that you guys are really taking what Chris is saying, because he's spent over a decade in finance, working with people to help get them out of debt, help build a better financial future. So please take what he's saying and use it. Because if you're not using it and you're just listening, then this is just entertainment. Might as well go put on Jeopardy, truthfully. But if you are using it, we appreciate you. And if you're the type of person that actually takes action with the information that they're getting on this podcast, I would encourage you to share the podcast with someone who you feel deserves financial freedom and deserves to hear this kind of message, right? We've been posting podcasts for a while now, and we post them every Monday and Friday. So if you guys would like to share it, that is our way. That's your gift to us. That would be very much appreciated. And if you're already this far into the video, make sure to like it if you're watching on YouTube. With that being said, I love what we're talking about. I hope this podcast doesn't ever end, but unfortunately it will eventually, but we're not there yet. Right, Chris? We still have a few more tips. I need a little bit more.
We do.
Perfect. Let's keep going.
I got some more for you. So here's one when it comes to actually spending the money and actually getting the gifts for people. Let's go ahead and take advantage of some of these holiday deals that are coming around. And this is a perfect time for this podcast to release, because it's the Monday before Thanksgiving. What happens the day after Thanksgiving? Black Friday. And now what most people do when they come to Black Friday is they go out and they just buy random shit and they hope that it all is going to work out. That's the reason that we started this, with creating a plan ahead of time. And now we're going to look and see on Black Friday, are any of those gifts that I said I was going to get people, are those available on Black Friday? If those gifts aren't available, I already have set a limit towards people, maybe $20, maybe $100. What can I get on discount during Black Friday that's going to be able to maybe make that person feel like it's even bigger of a gift than it normally would be, because I'm getting it at a discount? So by shopping ahead, we can actually avoid those last minute high price purchases and those guilt purchases that we always end up doing the week or two before Thanksgiving or before Christmas. How many of us have ended up inside of a mall parking lot, circling and circling and circling for a parking spot? By the time you finally get in, you're like, I have worked so hard just to get inside the damn door here. I'm going to spend a bunch of money to make it worth it at least. Let's not end up in that situation.
That's a dangerous situation to be in. That's dangerous. Because let me tell you, Macy's makes most of their money in December, I would assume. My goodness. Okay. So we're looking for holiday deals. I like that, taking advantage of it, but also coming in with a plan. It's almost like you're taking advantage of, I don't know how to put this. It's weird. It's kind of like you're taking advantage of getting in the way of yourself, right? So before it's like
Mhm.
you're spending all your money, you have no plan, you have zero idea of what you need. Now we're fighting against our natural habit to blow all of our money during Christmas. And now we have a plan. We have how much we want to allocate. We have different options to where we want to go with it. And we're not going to come up short on January 1st because when January, you want to hit the ground running. You don't want to be like,
Yeah.
all right, new year, I'm going to work out again and get my finances touched. And it's like, wow, I gained 20 pounds from Christmas and I'm poor. This sucks, right? We're trying to avoid both of those things. So keep going to the gym during Christmas and the holiday season. I highly recommend it because you're going to be eating so much. With that being said, I sound like I'm hopped up on sugar, probably because I am. It's the holiday season. And Chris and I did just get back from the gym. So I am pretty amped. So I'll slow down my speaking. I know I was talking really fast there for a second, but I love that, right? Taking advantage of the holiday deals. What else do you got for us in regards to that?
Yeah. So something I would recommend for that, if you're someone who likes to go out and shop, that's wonderful. If you're like someone who likes to shop online, to use browser extensions or apps like Honey, Rakuten, Retail Me Not, in order to score some sweet cashback deals, maybe some additional discount on top of those already huge discounts you're getting from Black Friday. But the big thing, and you already said it, is we're using intention. We're actually having a plan. So much of personal finance is far more personal than it is finance. It's your mindsets, it's your systems, it's your habits. And everyone's looking for the quick little secret. And the secret to everything in life is there is no secret. But coming into it with intention and putting that hard work ahead of time is what's going to set you up for peace of mind in the future. So be mindful as well of quote unquote bargains designed to lure you in to spend more money. That's what I talked about when you're driving around the mall so you can get that one sweet deal and you've just spent 2 hours trying to get into the mall. So now you're going to get that one sweet deal that most likely is already sold out. And since it's sold out, you're like, I already plan on spending $300. I guess I'll spend $300 on random BS stuff and blow the budget anyways because I'm already upset. So please do it ahead of time. You can do it online from the comfort of your house during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. All of these days are coming. And if we have some plan ahead of time and we know exactly how much we're going to spend for each person and what persons we have to buy things for, including ourselves, we can save so much money and take the next month of fear of Christmas or whatever holiday you spend out because you already have your gifts ready to go. Now you just got to wrap them and get them ready.
Absolutely. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. I mean, we had an entire podcast on how companies and businesses are kind of psychologically tricking you. So I definitely recommend that. And what we've learned from that is, businesses are in business to make money and they will use any tactic they can to do so, right? Sometimes they'll throw the word sale on there when there's no sale at all, right? So always be aware, always check online as well, and try not to shop emotionally. Try to shop logically and stick to your plan.
I think that's a big one. I think when the emotions take over, that's when it gets really hard.
Mhm.
And that's the reason that we're trying to take all the emotion out by making the list, by checking it twice and going through and making sure that we're setting everything up beforehand. So we're not at the mall, we're not online and just kind of do these quick impulses. That's when things normally go wrong.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'd like to move on to our next segment. So thus far, we've been talking a lot about spending additional money on your people, making sure that we have a plan ahead. But what if you're someone who's like, hey, I've created my list of people. I have the budget and it's just, I don't think it's enough for these people, or there's more people on the list than I have the money to do it for. First off, if that's you, I want to commend you for being able to see that, hey, I don't have enough and everything's going to be okay. Because you're not going to be the person that's going to set yourself up for a harder life in the future. You're going to make the hard choice today to set yourself up for an easier life. Because the easier choice today is just put it on credit and let future you deal with it. That's going to set you up for a harder life. So can we create thoughtful and low cost gift ideas in order to really create a personalized, creative gift for people? So we've already talked about a few of these things, but can we think about maybe giving like a framed photo, handmade items, or even experiences instead of expensive gifts?
Mhm.
I know so many of us think of like, oh no, that's childish stuff to like do that kind of stuff. But even today, when people do that for me, like who are adults, like, hey, I'm going to give you, I don't know, one day I'll come over to your house and I'll like mow your lawn. I'm like, hey man, that's worth way more than like a random keychain that I'm never going to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And You can go to Walmart, get those 4x7 printouts. They're 35 cents. And if you're really cheap, you can go to the dollar store, get a frame for $1, $1.50, $1.25, I think it is now. Bam, you're in and out, $2, maybe some wrapping paper. Maybe get them maybe 2 or 3, right? Something thoughtful like that. I know my mom loves gifts like that. I know I would love gifts like that as well. You know, I have a barren wall back here. I need some photos, right? So that is such a cost-effective way as well to kind of gamify all of that and get around having to spend, wow, $40 on a gift, $20 on a gift. It doesn't have to be as expensive, and you really shouldn't be putting yourself in debt or your friends.
Yep. Or your family. I mean, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
friends or family, you shouldn't be putting yourself in debt for anyone with the exception of maybe yourself because you think it's going to work out in the future to make you more money. And for those people that we have in our life that quote unquote have it all, they have everything. And even for those who don't, I would still say focus on meaningful creative presence that reflects shared memories that you spent or time that you spent together. That's going to mean so much more than just random ass expensive gifts. Because at the end of the day, like, the reason we give gifts is to show somebody that we care about them. And the way that we often show that we care about them is with our time, with our effort, with our words. By being able to invoke memories of times that you have spent with that person, that often means substantially more than getting the biggest, baddest technology thing that's out today.
Or Lego set. That's also an option. If
you want to buy me a Lego, but those are so expensive. If you want to buy me a Lego set though and send it, I would be so excited. I would totally make it. This day of Christmas.
They're so expensive. Crazy. It is. That's like, okay, that's like a one gift thing. Like you get that and then no other gifts, right?
Yep.
My gosh. Okay. Yeah. It's gonna be a Lego-less Christmas. I can feel it. It's, I would feel bad if I got a Lego set. I don't even have anywhere to put it. So it's like, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. It's a whole nother conversation.
It's tough.
It is. It is. So maybe if you guys have any ideas in the comment section of today's podcast, you can maybe drop us an idea of what a great personalized gift you've done in the past, or maybe something you've seen online. Because we're definitely all about helping in this community. And if you do have any, please drop them in the comments below. Your boy definitely does need some help with that. Not the most creatively. No, I'm a terrible gift giver. I gotta be honest. Horrible. Very bad at it. But I try my best and I eke out a victory always at the last minute. So this year I'm trying to stop that with chat's help, of course, with the viewers' help. So that's my take on that. That's my take on that. I love the handmade gifts. I love the personalized gifts. I love the creative stuff. A little bit more thoughtful. I love it.
Yeah. I remember with the handmade gifts, it doesn't need to be like a beautiful little framework or a nice little, I don't know,
like a wood carving,
dream catch or something like that. You can do something as simple as like baking some extra cookies when you're already making some for your family and giving that as a gift, giving them to multiple people on your list, making some extra things like that. But giving gifts with like a personal touch goes so much farther than just spending a bunch of money. So if you're just making a bunch of gifts and you just write somebody's name on them, like across like 6 cookies or whatever, just write somebody's name. That can often be more than enough to make you feel like, hey, I've given something to somebody, and at least they're going to know, hey, I was thought of. That's what people really want, is to feel thought of and to be seen, not to have the greatest gift. If you're sitting there at the holiday party saying like, that person got something better than me, probably not the best family member. Like, gifts aren't going to fix that person.
Yeah. That's not the spirit of giving. That's the spirit of receiving. And that's kind of messed up, right? The holidays are supposed to be a loving time to look after each other and be extra good and giving. And yeah, if you're doing that, like Chris said, you may have some other stuff to work on, but that's a different podcast. Anyway,
yeah, we have other issues. So we just reviewed some great ways to save money during the holiday season. Dominic, is there any other ones that maybe you can think of that I didn't think to cover?
You know, I did have an idea for a gift that just popped into my head. You know, we talked a little bit about giving food as a gift, right? Maybe your grandma's recipe of cookies, or maybe you have a specialty recipe that you hold on to, right? I know me, I have a great chocolate cake recipe and a great hot cocoa recipe, and a few other ones that I hold quite close to the chest. But I think a gift that would be really nice is if you gave them, you know, say the cookies as a gift, but you also had the recipe with it so that they could share
Mm.
that love with their family as well if they want to make it next year. Just another creative way to help you during this holiday season. I know we talked a little bit about Rakuten. We talked a little bit about different online things that can help save you money. For me in my bank, I got a notification just yesterday about, hey, you got some rewards. Don't forget to activate them, use them, right? So it's like 10% off, 10% like redeem, like cash back at Macy's, right? So don't forget to check those things out. Those little bit helps. You know, if you're spending $200, you're going to get a little bit of cheddar cheese back. So that's nice. But I think a lot of it's communication too, though. Communicate what they want, what they need. What are you looking for? What do we have a limit? Like that's probably my little summary of everything. Anything else I might have missed? But did you have anything else?
No, I mean, I was the one that made the notes on this one. So I kind of emptied my brain as to ways to save money. But the next segment I want to go to before we close out the pod is I want to talk about managing our post-holiday finances. And what that really means is come January 1 or come right after the holiday season, I really want you to assess your holiday spending. And what that really means is now we're going to review our holiday budget. And now it is a budget because it's what happened in the past. So we're going to see what was our spending plan? Did we stick to our spending plan? And after the season of giving, I want you to identify areas in which you can improve for next year. So if that means that start January 1, we're saying, hey, I'm going to create a fund right now that I'm going to start saving money every year or every single month moving forward so that when it comes November, I'm not going to be freaking out. You're just saving a little bit each month can really help that because what does it all come down to? It comes to intention. Either way, you're spending the same amount of money, but it's the choice. It's the choice of I spent this money because I plan to have it. So
Absolutely.
please, January 1, take control of your finances by reviewing what you just did to make sure that we don't repeat the exact same thing. Or maybe we look at the budget, we say, or our spending plan, we say, hey, that was amazing. Everything worked out perfectly. This year, what I'm going to do is I maybe be able to increase a little bit more how much money by planning ahead. Or maybe I'll decrease a little bit because I spent too much. Whatever is right for you is right for you.
Exactly. And none of these are like, you know, Newton's laws, right? They're not the laws of the universe. Right? Take them with a grain of salt. Take them with a bit of common sense in mind, right? This isn't one size fits all. So kind of tune it and customize it to your life and your needs without going crazy. You know, I'm not giving you free reign to just throw it all out the window. But yeah, I think it's so important to also look back, like Chris was saying, on that. Oh, what did we spend? Are these gifts that we're going to use? Did we need to buy all these extra ornaments? Did we need to buy this? Did we need to buy that? And really taking a look back, I think is so important. So important. Like you said, I think it's awesome.
I would definitely agree with that. And I'm going to give you a little bit of extra thing that this is often hard for people to do, but it can really help you with your finances. So one thing you can do is you can sell unwanted gifts or declutter. I know for a lot of us, you get a gift that you don't like. You're like, oh, thank you. I guess I'm going to put this in the back of my closet and pretend like it's not there until next year. But after the holiday season, you have the right, like someone gave you a gift. It is now your possession. You have the right to consider selling it or to give it to, or to re-gift it to somebody else in order to either maybe give that gift to somebody else in order to save you some cash or to make some extra cash. Additionally, it also helps to declutter. And by decluttering, we get to help to create a new fresh start for the year, a new fresh start for our finances, a new fresh start for our mental health to come into 2025 and beyond.
I love that. I love that. So important to start the year strong. So important to start the year strong. And we're not even close yet. We got a lot to get through, a lot to go through before that new year begins. But we're not going to worry about that just yet. Let's take it day by day and let's try to plan for the future today so we don't have to worry about it tomorrow.
I would agree with that. And before we close out, I'd like to go ahead and just give a quick summary of everything that we talked about, just so we don't forget any of these keys, takeaways in order to help you save money and make sure that we come out of this financial windfall of what normally happens during the holiday season. Rather than being stressed, let's come out feeling empowered and making sure that next year we set ourselves up. So some of the key points today. Number one, create a holiday budget. I know we don't like the word budget. If you don't want to use it, holiday spending plan. We're going to plan for all of our holiday related expenses and we're going to stick to that. And set aside some extra money for unplanned purchases. I would say no more than or no less than 10 to 15% of whatever you think you're going to spend. Add a little bit extra on there. So when inevitably you do blow the budget, at least you don't go and say like it's over and rack it all the way up to infinite. Number two, I want you guys to pay with cash or with prepaid cards if that is something you need. Using cash, using prepaid cards in person can really help to avoid overspending. But if you don't need that, you could just stick to the plan that you had, wonderful. But I know for a lot of us, Dominic included, that is difficult, and that's okay. Number three, make a shopping list, stick to it. Simple as that. Have a list of everyone, of all the recipients, have spending limits, and that's going to reduce all the amount of things that you need to do. If your list is too long or the money is too high, there's only two things we can do. We can either reduce the list or we can reduce the amount of spending. But don't go ahead just increasing the budget exponentially, because that's what's going to lead to a financial hangover. Next, different ways of saving money on gift giving. You can do Secret Santa, White Elephant, and potlucks. They're great ways to still give a gift to somebody that you care about, but also get to instead of buying 15 small gifts, you can buy one bigger gift. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long term. Next, you can always give, yes, thank you. Next, you can always give the gift of time. Offering services like babysitting or mowing somebody's lawn, or even just spending time with somebody that you normally wouldn't goes a really long way, especially for those people that quote unquote have everything. Our next tip was to please use credit cards cautiously. Credit cards are amazing. They can do amazing reward points back, and they could really be a good way to make some extra cash back on the money that you're spending. But if you're not going to use your credit card as if it is cash or as if it is a debit card, then you may not be a credit card person right now. And that's okay.
I love that. I love it. Yeah, you said potluck and I got so excited. Sorry. I had to interject in there. I forgot about that one. Yeah, potlucks are a great way. Great way. I know we talked a little bit about giving food, but when everybody brings food, that is a superior time of the year, I must say. But please, the microphone's back in your hands.
Not a problem. I have just a few more. Okay. So next thing we want to do is we want to take advantage of those sweet, sweet holiday deals. And that means this coming Friday, we have Black Friday. This coming Monday, we have Cyber Monday. So we have a bunch of areas that we can go ahead and do that. Additionally, a lot of stores will do a free shipping day that is around like December 14th, mid-December, where you can go ahead and purchase things through Macy's or whatever online store, and they'll ship stuff for free, which can have additional savings. But a lot of this comes down to intention. So use things like Honey, Rakuten, Retail Me Not in order to try to save us some money, but take advantage of the deals, but also don't overspend on the deals by having a plan ahead of time. Next thing we can do is thoughtful, low-cost gift ideas. We already talked about it. Give meaningful gifts, cookies, photos, things like that, creative handmade gifts. Those are often going to go so much farther than buying an expensive gift, because it really just shows somebody that you not only took the time to think about them, you also took the time to make something meaningful to both of you, which is really what this is all about. And our final thing, and I feel one of the most important for setting us up from 2025 and beyond, is to review your post-holiday finances. Assess the money that you spend on the holidays and make sure that you set up a fund for next year so that, the holiday season comes around every single year. And every single year, I feel like everyone I talk to is like, I didn't see this coming. Who could have foreseen I would be spending so much money during the holidays? So if we go ahead and we get ahead of it, we can make sure that we're not going to be in that same situation in 2025, 2026, 2027 and beyond. And make sure that we're showing our family that you can come from a place of power when it comes to the holidays, not a place of desperation. And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. I love it. Perfectly said. If you are taking notes, I hope you grabbed that last 2 minutes. That was a very important last 2 minutes. With that being said, any final thoughts? I don't think there's anything left to say. I think that's it. I think it's almost turkey time, so we got to get going.
I'm excited for that. But before we do close out, I do want to give the action step of the week, because if you're just listening, there's no action. What are we doing here? So I'm going to challenge every one of our listeners. I'm looking right at you to create a holiday spending plan. And then after you create that plan of who I'm going to be buying stuff for, how much limit, I want you to share it with your partner. If you have a significant other, if you don't have a significant other, share it with someone very close to you. Let them know, hey, these are my intentions for this year, because that way If you fall off the wagon, your friend or your partner could be like, hey, whatever happened to that plan that you had? So do that to stay consistent to yourself. Make a list of everyone you want to give it to, make a budget of how much you want to spend, parse out how much money you can give to each person. If it's not equaling up, you're going to either have to reduce the amount of people on that list, or you're going to have to reduce the amount of money that you're giving to each, allocating to each person. I know it's tough, but if you set yourself up for a hard choice now, you're going to set yourself up for an easier life later. Don't come January 1st looking back saying, damn it, it happened again. Don't be that person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, with that being said, guys, if you are still here, we much appreciate it if you did like and subscribe and share the podcast with someone who you believe deserves happiness come January 1st and deserves a good Christmas. Let's be honest. But with that being said, we are the Fi Guys. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll be back on Friday, as always, with Fi Friday. Till then, hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. If you're watching this exactly when it releases. But if not, hope you have a great week. We'll see you guys later. Peace, guys.
Later.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests, not the podcast sponsor. It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.